Being a police officer is arguably one of the toughest jobs on earth, making split-second decisions that can affect the lives around you as well as your own. But it's not for everyone.
I think it takes a special individual to go into law enforcement.
Some come from military backgrounds, like Jacob Carlson. He was one of the 19% of law officers across the U.S. that are veterans.
I just missed the uniform I missed. I didn't just want to mop floors and stock liquor and whatnot.
Others, like Lieutenant Ben Mattila, coming from a home of do-gooders and a dad in the force.
We were always helping somebody out. We were always looking out for other people. And so that's really where I went with it is, how can I serve everybody else and try to make their life better?
Then there's the criminal justice majors.
I realized, man, this would be a pretty interesting line of work.
No matter the why, helping people is at the forefront, but there's no telling the roller coaster they're about to ride.
They don't really have the full knowledge of what they're about ready to get themselves into.
This job really is a front row ticket to the craziest show on earth.
Officers spend months, if not years, perfecting their skills to be ready for any situation.
I think on the other side, you're still thinking, it's, nothing's going to happen to me or I'll never be in that situation.
A few months into this on the street, you realize that it's a different world than what you think. It's not all, fun and arrests and the sensationalized stuff. I mean, you see the darkest side of humanity day in and day out. And it takes its toll on you.
That toll shining a light on what used to be overlooked, mental health.
Law enforcement at large is behind the 8 ball on this. We're behind the curve.
I mean, we have a real problem today with mental health in our law enforcement and first responders.
A shocking stat, police officers are 40 to 60% more likely to commit suicide than the general public.
And over at least the last 3 years, more cops are dying by their own hand than in the line of duty.
Agencies taking steps of progress. The Casper Police Department doing a post-academy class with a section geared towards mental health.
When that critical incident does come, they'll already have tools in their toolbox to help deal with that, rather than trying to play catch-up of how do I fix myself so that I can come back to duty without imploding.
But those tools only taking officers so far before they have to call in backup. Job description, protect and serve. And police don't take that lightly, leading them into some intense situations.
The first time you do CPR on somebody, the first time you go into a building that's on fire, the first time that somebody tries to pull a gun on you. They're all intense in different ways, and they all leave their their lasting memory.
Lieutenant Dundas recalling an event where he jumped into the North Platte River rescuing a teen.
I don't really know how to swim. And so it was rewarding, but at the same time that afterwards, that moment of, oh man, I almost died there.
Mattila's brush with death, a house explosion.
And, it is what it is. That's the job that we get in, but I never really had a scare like that before.
And maybe that one event won't bug you, or maybe the second event won't bug you, but after 20, 25, 30 years of seeing terrible stuff, how could it not?
I'll forever have those burned in my brain.
Even after the physical healing, officers can be left with mental scars of vivid memories. Take a listen to Jacob Carlson discuss his critical incident, picking up when he and Officer Garrett took cover.
And I'm crawling on the ground so I've got my gun in one hand, I'm screaming on the radio in the other hand, and there's bullets coming. You can feel the dirt because they're hitting in the dirt, and you can feel the rocks and stuff.
And the memories can be sparked anywhere by anything. Studies suggest smell is one of the strongest triggers.
They do bring you back pretty quick. There's a certain smell to a high-speed collision, and you can kind of get that smell of antifreeze and gasoline mixed with bent metal, and it's hard to explain. But all of those smells hit you all at the same time.
But memories aren't the only manifestation of trauma in the workplace. They also come with physical side effects, something touched on in CPD's post-academy class.
To have somebody come and tell you, hey, you can expect to just randomly walk in through the grocery store, have your hands start sweating, start shaking and have to leave your cart and walk out. Having that first-person perspective hits home on a whole new level.
The symptoms are different for different people, but it can be anything from, unexplained irritability, constant hypervigilance, can't relax, constantly looking over your shoulders.
The latter leading Carlson to make changes in his own home.
I was so anxious about not knowing what was behind me that we had to completely rearrange the whole living room.
Deputy Maurer adding panic attacks and night terrors to the list of some of the more serious effects.
Preemptive, uncontrollable adrenaline dumps where nothing's even happened, but boom, I'm in fight or flight. Why? I don't understand what.
When it comes to solutions, knowing is only half the battle. The other half, battling a decades-old tough cop culture.
When I got into this, it certainly wasn't what I know it is today.
For years, the law enforcement profession was full of stoic attitudes where the job didn't get to you.
It was just, we're going to deal with it and go to the next one.
As years passed, new technology and techniques changed the game, but a shard of the old culture held on, the fear of appearing weak if you talk about what bothers you.
Law enforcement officers aren't weak, they're strong.
It doesn't make you broken. It doesn't make you not fit for duty.
Deputy Maurer sharing one of his traumatic on-the-job stories, and a common thread begins to emerge: officers' proximity to death.
Very early on in my career, I witnessed a young woman get run over by a truck right in front of me. She died in my arms.
With so much trauma on the job, Maurer knows firsthand the importance of reaching for help.
Had I not done that, I probably wouldn't last in the career.
But that old tough cop culture still lurks in departments across the nation.
It just destroys the mentality when in fact that they're having mental health issues.
Departments stepping up, creating internal avenues for officers to seek help from officers.
The peer support team is a phone call. Hey man, I just need to talk to you for a minute.
Teams ranging in rank, and in some places like Sweetwater County, other departments providing that counsel.
We understand. We've all been through traumatic things. Let us help you with things that we didn't have help with.
But it doesn't have to be the peer support group. For some, a loved one is the answer.
There's no doubt I came home and I cried in front of my wife several times. She gave me really good advice through really rough times.
Then there's the critical incident debrief, bringing in all involved parties, walking through the entire event from start to finish.
So much of the trauma comes from question marks because you don't have a big picture of the entire event. That gives you a foundation to take whatever might be bothering you mentally or emotionally and to grow from it, to start to process it and get some perspective on it and to move forward from it.
But breaking down the old cop culture starts at the line level.
Those are the boots on the ground troops who they sit in briefing every morning and laugh and joke with each other, and that's where cultures change.
The culture changing on a state level too. Wyoming Senate Bill 0117, allowing first responder workplace mental injury coverage, has been brought to the House. If passed, it could change the way agencies tackle mental health injuries. Lieutenant Dundas doubling down on the power of mental health care.
You know, I've seen it firsthand. Salvage careers of people that they could have easily thrown the towel in and said, I'm not doing this anymore, but instead they reached out, got the help, and are still successful contributing members of our department.
The road to combating mental health injuries from workplace trauma, a long one.
How do we get to a point where we feel like we understand all of it, when we do, there's going to be more that we have to figure out.
Now, there's no silver bullet for treating mental health trauma sustained by first responders, but figuring out what works best for you starts with asking for help.
Getting things off your chest and speaking about it is, I think it's monumental in helping your own mental health.
Reporting in Casper, David Furtado, K2 News.